Code's back. You saw this, I think you all might find it interesting. Make sure y'all got a good view. Hold on. Hang on, I'm checking your view before I start it. Hang on, I'm checking the feed. Make sure you guys got a good view. Yeah. Good.
Shows that 911 emergencies are continuing to rise each year across the city. But EMS workers say that there's not enough resources to keep up.
My ambulance, I haven't seen it in at least well over 6 months.
So if you're experiencing an emergency, the ambulance
turn right
may not arrive as quickly as one would hope. And while some are blaming traffic congestion for shortages of available ambulances,
God damn it. There we go. Why is it tweaking? Sorry, hold on.
Want to keep your hairline where it is? Through Hims.com, you can explore a range of options.
others say those shortages are because New York City's experiencing more 911 calls than it has in a long time. But one thing's for sure, these shortages of ambulances, they're coming at the worst possible time for New York City.
Clinton Hill neighbors came out in numbers to draw attention to their safety concerns. I spoke with neighbors concerned about the increased litter, noise, and fights outside the two.
Others say those shortages
in a quarter mile. Turn left.
More 911 calls than it has in a long time. But one thing's for sure, these shortages of ambulances, they're coming at the worst possible time for New York City.
Clinton Hill neighbors came out in...
Oh, there, that's how I want it to be, like that.
Out in numbers to draw attention to their safety concerns. I spoke with neighbors concerned about the increased litter, noise, and fights outside the two shelters.
10 years ago, it took EMS
turn left
6 minutes on average to get to a life-threatening call.
Response
time now 12.4 minutes. The FDNY's response to medical emergencies has nearly doubled.
Local families are terrified of the threat of more attacks, assaults, as are the residents of that shelter.
In Brooklyn, life-threatening emergencies have increased by 15.7% since 2021. It's the highest increase in the city.
This part's getting bad. You know, we all know that it's getting bad.
We've been knowing that. I've been trying to warn them. They don't want to listen.
There's plenty of recent signs of how bad things have been getting. There's also what locals describe as a constant presence of loitering. 8th Avenue in Manhattan is getting attention, but for the wrong reasons. EMS union boss Oren Barzilay says delivery trucks and bike lanes are part of the problem. The response time is over 10 minutes for those types of calls. The next option for our crews will be probably taken to the morgue.
For real.
So New York is experiencing an enormous rise in life-threatening emergencies, yet there aren't enough ambulances to go around. But what nobody's talking about is many of those emergencies have a lot to do with the types of dangerous behavior we as a city have decided we're just going to let slide with no consequences, revealing that our ambulance shortage might not be as complicated as some people think it is. Yes, traffic congestion here is a massive issue, and yes, there have been reports of rising gang violence in our asylum shelters and on our streets. But the overwhelming majority of asylum seekers who've come to New York worker not here committing crimes or hurting others. And as it turns out, traffic congestion also isn't to blame for this, even though the roads are packed with cars. Instead, those traffic jams are the fault of environmentally friendly yet flawed road redesigns that create unnecessary
Like all the
gridlock.
stupid
Also,
bike
as you'll
lanes
see,
they
the
should-
lack of available
Like all the stupid bike lanes they got in Chicago taking up parking spots.
The 911 calls weren't higher than they've been in quite some time. In fact, physical violence on our streets is now so bad, New York's former governor, David Paterson, who's 70 years old, was recently assaulted by a gang while walking his dog. And one of those arrested turns out to be a New York City employee who's got a job working for the MTA. On top of that, NYPD data shows assaults citywide are up 5% this year
We
and
need Mayor
40%
Rudy
over the last 5
Giuliani to
years,
come
making
back.
it clear our city has an out-of-control safety problem that's been growing since before the asylum crisis became a crisis. Which brings us to the real reason we've now got an ambulance shortage in this city. Yes, we've got rising violence. Yes, we've got crazy traffic. But decisions made by our leaders have been making those two problems worse for a very long time. Because as you're about to see, our revolving door justice system that releases dangerous repeat criminals who assault others is one thing, but it's quite another for city planners to build things that create traffic jams on purpose just to disincentivize driving. Which,
Like the bike lanes that can only be used in Chicago for 6 months out of the year.
aggressive, high crime environment can't do it because they're stuck in bumper to bumper traffic. You know traffic's bad when the guy on the city bike...
In a quarter mile, turn right onto the ramp.
Nightmare not just for drivers and commuters, but also for emergency vehicles. Emergency services try to come and save somebody. But not only do they have more work to do because we're living in an environment where there are more 911 calls than ever before for a variety of reasons, this traffic congestion has actually been made worse by city planners on purpose.
EMS union boss Warren Barger said delivery trucks and bike
God
lanes
damn
are
it.
part of the problem.
Fucking
Response time is over 10 minutes for those types of calls. Your next option...
Turn right.
So this is extremely important because the EMS supervisor mentions two big problems: delivery vehicles and walkway that two people are standing in right now. The city had to give up 2 lanes that could have been used to improve the